Well, hey folks, it's your old pal, he, she, they, Waspinator, and welcome back to Total Pronoun Skills. I just got done playing 4 hours of Starfield. I've already had some things I've been wanting to say on this subject, but I decided to hold off until I actually had the game and had a chance to play it a little bit before tossing my hat into the ring on this. This might actually, overall, have been like the nicest looking character creator that any Bethesda role-playing game has produced. And the whole bit where it wants you to confirm your pronouns at the very end is so blink and you could miss it that it beggars belief that people are acting like this is some sort of end of the world, haha, gotcha moment with them. You have to like toggle a button that you don't normally use throughout the entire course of character creation, so it's just kind of just natural to skip right on by it and not even realize that question was being asked right then. It's at the same point where you're having to type in a name for your character and all that. But for the record, I made my character to look as much like my wife as possible and went ahead and allowed her to have the she/her pronouns. So don't worry, your little heads. This is a cisgender artificial avatar for space adventures. Now look, I get it. Ever since Bud Light and Target earlier this year, you're popping some serious wood on the idea that you might be able to boycott some other brand. But good God, are you wasting your time on this? But whatever, like this train's already sailed. People are already going to be, making their videos every day for the next couple of years about how woke Starfield is or something. And hearing people who, I normally, under most circumstances, kind of, at least respect their positions and listen to their videos and stuff. But I'm hearing some takes from some channels I watch that just makes me just really shake my head because of the amount of stretching that's going on here to make some sort of issue out of this. Ignoring the whole pronoun thing, as we all should be doing anyway, some of the other complaints I do hear people saying about this game is that, the world maps are a little too empty. You get past, whatever the main featured settlement is, and you wander off for a while and eventually hit an invisible wall. I mean, yeah, what did you expect? This thing, if it has, like, the 1,000 planets that it boasts having, that's a lot of potential real estate, and some of it is going to need to have some sort of procedural generation emptiness. Also, alien worlds, especially your more rocky, devoid alien type atmospheres, they're not going to be teeming with jungles and kiosks and stuff like that. There's not going to be a big market town square on a dead moon with no air. But considering that, it's a Bethesda game and it's going to have creator kit stuff, what you should be thinking of is the years ahead as things are developed and released for Starfield, especially from the modding community, and all the real estate they have left wide open for people to play with that doesn't already have some other feature attached to it. But by all means, let's complain. I've heard some complaining about the fast travel. You use fast travel to fly through space between planets and star systems. Now, this is immersion breaking, apparently. Oh my God, our precious fucking immersion. A couple years ago it was verisimilitude. Now it's immersion. Like, look, I don't know how to tell you this, but space travel takes a long time. You want a realistic space travel game? Like, what are we talking here? It could take months to years to feasibly travel in between planets within the same star system, let alone interstellar differences. Like, what are we saying here? Heels versus Babyface wants to sit in his chair for 100,000 years as his ship slowly travels to Alpha Centauri. Is that really the complaint? Actually, I think that was Arch, for the record. This is one of those instances where, the fast travel is kind of justified. Maybe less so, like, on the planet's surface. You don't want to walk back through the pirate base you just fought your way through. Fine, whatever. You don't have to use it, though. Just like with Skyrim and Oblivion and Fallout, you can just use a little self-control and not use the fast travel. But having fast travel for interstellar flight, like, I don't exactly see what the other option's supposed to be there, guys. Nor why would you want that? Also, there's some complaints about, like, I don't have a bunch of companions that are like weird aliens with giant tits. Okay, I get it. Enjoying nice, juicy pair of breasts just like the next guy. But they don't need to be alien. This is a hard science fiction game, or at least it's presenting itself as that. It's probably about, like, as hard as, like, The Expanse was, especially the earlier seasons and or novels of the Expanse series. Still a ways off from the space operatics and all that. But no, it's not Star Trek, where you have a bunch of people who look mostly human but have, like, broken foreheads or some such. And it's not Star Wars, where you have a big shaggy dog as a companion character. And they never advertised this as being one of those sorts of settings. So, I'm sorry. Star Wars and Star Trek have games. Go play one of those. They're trying to, like, not just be carbon copying stuff they've already done in Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I'm also quite happy that, unlike Outer Worlds, this game has a fairly serious tone and probably reminds me more of Subnautica, really, than it does like the Outer Worlds. Even though you would expect it to be, you know, Outer Worlds-esque, but perhaps because the Outer Worlds already existed, they had to go to some lengths to make sure that they were not just copying themselves, sort of. We're just 4 hours in. Took me 2 days to download this thing. I've been up over 24 hours. That's why you get to look at this great picture I took on my screen so you can see my character, as opposed to showing you my haggard-ass features right now. But before I finally set things aside and put everything up and go lay down finally and get some goddamn sleep, I just felt like, now that the game's done downloading and I actually got a chance to play it, I could finally put my first few cents in on this conversation. Now, considering the fact that I had to buy a fucking Xbox S just to be able to play this thing because I had a PlayStation 5, and, well, lo and behold, Microsoft bought Bethesda, and now it's a Microsoft exclusive. Haha. And I'm a medium-range Bethesda fan. I don't play every last single thing they do, but I do enjoy the Elder Scrolls games, going back to Morrowind, and I do enjoy most of the Fallouts. I'd probably say my top 3 and proper ranking of, you know, what's the best, second best, third best, I would put Morrowind at the top, followed by Fallout New Vegas, and then under that, Oblivion. I think Skyrim's always kind of bothered me on some level. I did not like Fallout 4. I am not a simp for Bethesda by any stretch of the imagination. But I have been looking forward to this game for what, like most of a decade now, since they first announced that this thing was coming. And so I'm going to give it a fair shot and not just take the first opportunity to try to get a little internet traction so I can sell a few super chats. Speaking of selling things, though, check out links below to actually buy a book and something you can read and use. And until next time, what are your pronouns?